Hey guys, AniMind here, and welcome back to another Speedbump video. Today is my promised follow-up to my video about Egypt, and I just realized after watching that video, just as a bit of a refresher, because it's been a long time since that video, that it wasn't really that much about Egypt. It was more about the spirits, but here I am going to be talking a bit more about Egypt, and yeah. So I talked in that video about the Egyptians having crystal powers, but I didn't really talk that much about the Egyptians themselves. Now, if you know a bit about Egyptian history or history in general, you'd probably know that the last pharaoh, or pharaohine, whatever female version is for pharaoh, was Cleopatra, one of the most famous Egyptians there ever was, and well, she killed herself, as far as most stories and historical facts go, and she murdered herself while Rome was invading Egypt. And later France, I believe, took over Egypt, and then Britain took it over, and then they released Egypt from colonialism, and yeah, so yeah, Egypt has quite a complicated history of a lot of kind of wars and colonization and stuff. But yeah, and all you need to know is basically Cleopatra killed herself, according to normal history. But as you know, the history is a little bit different in this storyline, because what actually happened was Cleopatra did not kill herself. She instead left a fake body, as some people have in history, and she traveled back to Greece, because Cleopatra was originally Greek. I believe. I'm not sure if it's exactly true, but she has some Greek ancestry, and yeah, so she traveled back to Greece in the story, and then she lived on with her having children, and so on and so on, and because what's called Rome fell, I believe, a few centuries, which are hundreds years, after they invaded Egypt. It wasn't that long after, and of course, I've said before that about 100 years into the Middle Ages, the non-magical era started, and so that was enough time for Cleopatra to have a few grandchildren, not a few grandchildren, but a few, you know what I mean, like, she had children, her children had children, and this was like her great-great-grandchild, and then she froze, of course, and she was the person that came out after in the new magical era. So, but yeah, and when this happened, she took over Egypt, and because she had the power, well, not the power, but the blood of the original pharaoh, and all the servants knew it was her, because she had other heirs and stuff like that, and she had, yeah, I'm not really going to go into how they knew it was her. It's just, she of course had stuff like family heirlooms that belonged to the Egyptian family and stuff like that, and then what happened was, and then what happened is they start activating the pyramids again, and then Victoria and Angela. I don't know why I keep saying Sophie, but then Victoria and Angela came to Egypt. Angela fell into a tomb, and she got the magical spirit's power, as I believe I've said before, but I don't think I really mentioned much about the tomb. And yeah, this is where it gets kind of interesting, because she actually fell in the tomb of King Tut. I think that's his name. No, not King Tut, King Tufu. King Khufu, sorry, who was one of the most powerful, I think the most powerful pharaoh of all time, because he he didn't build, but he was fair at the time that the Great Pyramid of Giza was built, and there are 3 I know, but he built like the biggest one, and she fell into his tomb, because his tomb wasn't actually discovered yet, so she fell into his burial plot because the pyramid was activated, which meant that some doors opened once again, including the tomb, and she accidentally fell in there. And then the thing was, King Tut, according to the story, his children he was so unfortunate that none of his children got the power of the spirit. At that time, it didn't really, I wouldn't say it didn't really matter, but it did kind of matter because they could still have the power of crystallizing. They weren't just blessed with the spirit of the crystal spirit, which meant they weren't as strong, but because they were raised by just crystallizers and stuff like that, they still had a rich childhood in learning how to crystallize and stuff like that, so they could still crystallize, and so the spirit was lost. And the thing is, non-living organisms can transfer the spirit, but it's complex magic stuff. The reason why no one else got the spirit when he died is unbeknownst to me at the moment. I still am figuring stuff out on the way, but basically then Angela gets the power of King Khufu, which is like really weird to say, but yeah. And then with that, she got taught by Victoria. I believe I've talked about it earlier. Victoria's good friend. I won't say best friend. I really haven't figured out relationships too much in the storyline, but one of her good friends, and also Nigel's ex-girlfriend, as I believe I've said once again, helps teaching Angela. And remember, Angela would obviously be a fast learner because she's blessed with the power of the air spirit. So if you're wondering how does she learn so quickly, how does she learn this so quickly, then there's just a quick explanation for you. She really didn't have. She had a spirit, so that made her a natural born candidate for learning this, if that makes sense. But yeah, and then what happens is she is given by Cleopatra's heir herself a really powerful weapon that can only be used by the heir to the throne. Not the heir to the throne, well, technically the heir to the throne, but the person with the power of the weird crystal thingy, crystal spirit. And that's of course Angela. And this is a crystal. You've probably seen it in some of my drawings. It was definitely in my last video's thumbnail. I believe it will be in this video's thumbnail, in the upcoming drawing that I've already drawn. It will also be shown close up. And this crystal can be bent and molded much easier into any weapon, and it's much more compacted, and it naturally compacts, which means that one crystal can be the size of a warhammer, for example. Not really, but you understand what I mean. And it's also a really strong but flexible crystal type, so it's one of those like powerful weapons that is really unique, and she can make like anything she wants out of it. It's almost like Shira's sword, if you know what I mean, if you watch the series. But anyway, please leave a like. I hope you enjoyed this video. There might be a part 3, but it won't be a continuation of this drawing. Talking about the drawing, please let me know how you think about it. Subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.